Dudes to Dads, brought to you by Dad University, is a podcast to help men understand and navigate the transition of being a single dude into a family man. How do we make sense of it all? Well, we probably won't be able to, but let's go ahead and have some fun trying. And we are back.
We are back.
I'm Jason Kreidman.
I'm Alan Bush.
And this is Dudes to Dads, episode 170.
170.
It's 170.
That is 170.
I just wanted to spell it out.
Right.
This episode is why your wife isn't paying attention to you after having a child.
Besides the obvious?
Yes. It's not talking about the physical.
Oh, okay.
Well, there is some physical
There could be
stuff,
some of that.
It's really about how do we get more attention as guys.
Okay.
So whether you've had a newborn, meaning you just had the baby, or your child is now a toddler, guess what? She's tired.
End of story.
She's tired of cleaning up after the kid. She's tired of cleaning up after you. She's tired of taking the child places.
Yeah.
And most likely she's tired of you complaining. Once again, this is not about something that happened to me.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe we're going to get into this, but I'm thinking about it as you're saying it. Like, there's a physical toll besides just giving
being
birth.
tired. Yeah.
But just there's so much hormonal stuff that you have to expend, and then you have to if you're breastfeeding, that's a whole other thing.
Yep.
And then you got to get your body adjusted to kind of healing from that whole factor as well. So even 3 months in, 4 months in, you got to readjust yourself.
Totally.
So I mean, I'm trying to empathize with the women.
Well, so here's the thing. For some guys, it's going to be as simple as they're just wanting more physical intimacy.
Sure.
That's all. That's what they're thinking. For others, it's just you want her to just recognize that you're actually in the house.
Right.
I mean, really.
I exist.
There's an entire spectrum, I think, of
Sure.
that. I mean, some physical, some emotional, some, anything.
Yeah.
So I think all of them have similar things and ways that you can do things differently that you might get that attention that you want. And so I wanted to just put a couple tips together to kind of help guys understand that. And like I said, as always, none of this advice has nothing to do with my own personal experience.
Correct. Disclaimer.
Okay? I got these from a friend. It worked for a friend of mine. So here's the first one. Stop complaining.
Sure.
So nobody wants to hear you complain. And ask yourself the question, or I should ask, I'll ask you the question.
Okay.
When somebody complains to you, does that motivate you to help them or act on it?
No.
Not really.
Not really. And I guess that's the thing too, is that, are they complaining just to complain?
No, it may even be justifiable. It's still a complaint, though.
And they're not doing anything about it, and that's so. There's still
complaints. It's not a direct way of asking for what you need,
right?
Or explaining in a positive way.
Yeah.
Or, there's a ton of. We'll go over a ton of those things.
Okay, going back to that, and this is good because it's basically saying in the context of somebody complaining to you and something needs to be done about it, is complaining the best way to get it done?
Correct.
No, not at all.
Right.
I will totally 100% justify that.
Right.
Nope.
Even in its simplest form, if somebody was complaining to you that the house was dirty,
right,
that's different than, hey, I need your assistance in cleaning this up.
Yeah.
Or even just the approach or whatever. It's complaints do not register to another human being as I really need to do something. It's that person is complaining and that's annoying.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
There's nothing that makes you want to do anything about it.
Correct.
So stop complaining that you're not getting enough attention, not getting enough physical activity, whatever it is that you want.
Right.
Stop. It's not going to work.
Right.
Number 2, don't always try to be right. Don't feel like you always have to be right. Just let it go.
Yeah.
So,
as your friend learned.
As my friend learned. Well, and that has to do with a little bit of controlling, or the idea of trying to control.
For sure.
It's really not worth it. So you need to learn quickly that arguing, and more importantly, being right, it's not going to get you the goal of getting more attention.
Yeah.
Okay. So In fact, it's typically the opposite.
Yeah.
You want the other person to feel good, the other person to feel that they're right, the other person to feel whatever is at the part of, and just, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need to prove your point. Stop.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I was being funny about it. Not all of these are things that I dealt with, but sometimes I certainly have learned along the way, different ways of communicating that are more effective than others.
Yeah. And especially during these times. I think these are good tips in general.
Yeah.
But during these times where it's a little more sensitive, you have another human being you have to relate to.
Yeah.
And not only is it more like they're already kind of, I was mentioning physically taxed, but then there's a psychological component with a child being there. So if you're being argumentative in front of a child, well, what kind of example are you setting for them too? Right. So there's a whole other.
Well, the not trying to be right. That's not so much in my personal relationship. I'm finding that I'm more that way in just friend discussions or even work or whatever, where it's like, I'm not going to argue that. Like,
right.
Like it's just not, I already know that the outcome isn't going to be what, even whether you're having a political discussion, whether you're having some sort of, how something should be done discussion, whatever. It's, unless you're in a situation where you're around people who are really willing and understand, like are asking for your information.
Right. That's a whole different thing.
And say, I'm experiencing that a lot now with, Dad University and such like that yes, people might be asking me the advice, then okay, I can give it to them. Yeah. But me giving somebody advice who's not asking for it is not going to work.
Right. Yeah.
Like, they're telling me some situation about something and they're like, well, I'm having problems with my kid, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
That's where I need to stop.
Right.
Because if I said, well, you know what you should do?
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
They're not asking me a question. They're just relating in some way. They're not asking like, hey, what do you think I should do?
Yeah.
If somebody actually says that, okay, then let's talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's even funny because even when I know 100% I am right about a fact or something, I'll back away. It's like, hey, I'm just saying.
I just did that the other day.
Did you?
Yeah,
it worked.
And then I actually went back like hours later, and then showed the screen.
Yeah, yeah.
And went, just by the way.
Yeah, just want to let you know.
That thing that you were arguing, I didn't have the phone in front of me at the time.
You're right. Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, all right, yeah. At first I'll be like, no, it's this. No, it's this. Well, it's this. I'm pretty sure it was the Flintstones. Well, no, it was something else. Okay. Right. Let's just go back to it later, and then sure enough,
totally,
just back away.
So you don't need to be right. Number 3, be empathetic. So you need to understand that being a mom is a hard gig. It really is.
Right.
We're not talking. Yes, it's hard to be a dad, and we've gone over all that. But being a mom is hard. It's often a thankless job. The demands are heavy. So when she might be complaining about something, just listen and really listen and say, you know what? I can see how that was difficult. Instead of trying to, deflect it, be defensive, whatever, just listen and be empathetic. Yeah. I'm telling you, empathy is the absolute secret to successful relationships, whether personal, friendships, whatever. Being empathetic is so crucial.
For sure.
And as a man, if you can learn to be empathetic, you can learn to get along with a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
It really does help.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 4, positive reinforcement. So the opposite of complaining is that many women, after having kids, they're going to feel like they're not good enough, sexy enough, whatever enough happens to be, in their head. If you're making demands on them or you're criticizing them in some way, it's only going to add fuel to the fire.
Right.
So providing them positive reinforcement and showing appreciation is going to go a lot further. So you're going to want to say something like, hey, I really appreciated that you made dinner. Or, hey, the other day when you did this, that was just really, really generous of you.
Right.
Whatever it is. And you're reinforcing that positive behavior. Everyone likes to hear that and they want to then do that positive behavior again.
Right.
So instead of criticizing the negative, reinforce the positive. Number 5, this one's tough, but lower or eliminate your expectations.
Okay.
So you have to stop putting expectations on the other person for your happiness. That's a bold statement and a big statement, but it's very, very true. And quite frankly, she needs to be doing the same for you too.
Yeah.
This is all going both ways.
Yeah, that's a kind of a...
But someone's got to do it.
Right. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah. There are elements within parenting that certainly require expectations, or maybe sometimes in relationships, everyone has different levels of what, should be expected versus not. But paying attention to you, you're at least in the early years, I'm telling you, you're going to have to back off. Mm-hmm. You're getting less attention is just something that happens.
Sure.
And if you can offer her attention or affection with no expectations, it's going to be much more powerful.
Sure.
So you have to retrain your body, because oftentimes, the majority of times, we do things because we want something in return. So we will be very nice to her, blah, 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 and do this, whatever, because we want to be intimate at night. Mm-hmm. Or, we want to go out with the boys. And so instead we're going to do this beforehand so that we're really friendly, so we can get something out of it, whatever it might be. So you're going to have to learn to do things without the expectation. And I can tell you that is probably one of the biggest dynamic shifts that I understood, or that I got. I got it. That when I stopped expecting, it put less pressure on my wife.
Sure.
And as a result of that, I actually then got more attention.
Yeah. Yeah. It does work that way, right?
She did respond very positively, and like I would get a text message, or I would get a note, or like things that I was wanting that I probably wasn't getting as much before. Yeah. But it's because I backed off.
Right.
Like it's because she then wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting revelation, I guess, for me. Sure. Because it's hard to say like, well, no, this is how it's supposed to be, and this is what I expect, and you can't do that. Right. You can't do that if you're really wanting somebody, and your children are the same way. Like once you start like kind of not having expectations of them. They will, children need a little bit of expectation, but they sort of start to find their way, and they sort of start to do those things without you having to really expect it.
Sure.
There's a lot of pressure with expectations.
Yeah, I would agree.
And it's tough.
Yeah.
So that's another good one. Number 6, figure out what her love language is.
Mm-hmm. We covered love languages a few episodes ago.
For sure. Yeah. Yes. And we're going to reiterate it all the time, is she may not care that you bought her a gift because she really wants you to clean something.
Right.
Yeah. She, help out with something or do something else, or act, an act of service, or tell her that you love her. That's going to be really powerful for her. So you got to figure out what her love language is and do that. That's going to fill her cup. That's going to make her feel better. Don't think that it's the same thing you like.
Right.
Because she may not want quality time or physical, touch or whatever it is. Her love language is most likely a little different than yours.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. It could be the same. It could be, but it oftentimes is different.
For sure.
For everybody.
Yeah.
So find out what it is and do that more, whatever it is. And then the last one, number 7, give her some R&R time. So, if you're in a traditional situation, let's call it traditional, where, you're working, your wife is more at home or stays at home. If she's with the children the majority of time, make sure she is getting good breaks.
Right.
And by break, it means, let her sleep in, get massage, or just do nothing at all. Sometimes that's a break. Like, take the kid or kids out of the house and go somewhere.
Just go somewhere and
leave her to let her just do
right. Just hang out, whatever she wants to do. Do anything you want in the house. I'm gonna go. I'll take the kid with me. Let's go.
Yeah, and even if like I said, if finances are an issue, that's an easy one. Just take them out of the house, go play for an hour, and give her a break.
Sure.
And And if possible, you can even set up a regular schedule. That makes it sometimes easier to say, okay, you know what, on Saturday mornings, blah, 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 blah. Or, I don't know, if depending on your work schedules, like you can figure that one out where you guys are allowing each other to take breaks.
Right.
Having time without the children or child when you have young kids is extremely valuable.
Yeah, for sure.
Even just a couple of hours of recharging is amazing what that does.
Yeah.
And it's gonna make her happier. It's gonna make you happier. It works. So, even just like I said, schedule it in regular intervals. You can do that. It's hard to often to not want all of these things. And that's how we kind of what I said in the beginning is we communicate things by either complaining or doing things in a manner that, like, if you think about it for yourself, it's like it doesn't motivate you to want to do it.
Right.
And so if attention is something that you're craving, you got to take a step back and realize that, like, you're not doing, and it's not working.
Yeah.
Then maybe you got to do it differently.
For sure.
So
it's not about you anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, we deserve attention. That's the thing. It's not that, saying, oh, you just need to leave your wife alone and, no, I mean, you deserve attention. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be paid attention to. But the methods that we're going about doing it don't work.
Right.
And you can talk to a ton of females. I was just talking to a female friend the other day, and same thing. Like, same exact thing that she's dealing with in her marriage. And it was just funny because I mentioned a couple of these things. She's like, oh, wow, that would be great. Yeah, if I had some time on my own, that'd be great. No, he never says anything positive. It's always critical. Like, I think it's a very, very common thing that men and women relate to each other differently, and especially after kids, is just not understanding the best ways to communicate.
Right.
And so when you're wanting, and I think this I'm sure goes both ways, that there are women who want more attention as well.
Sure.
And so they are going to nag or complain or do things in the same manner. The guy is not going to respond positively.
Right.
He's going to go, oh, she's just always getting on me for this, and this.
Right.
Because we think, oh, we'll get on them and we'll complain, and that's going to change their right. That's why they'll do it.
Right.
Because I say it, that's why they'll do it. So it just doesn't work.
Right.
You guys both deserve attention.
Sure.
And so we've got to figure out ways to make that work
constructively. Yeah.
So, Alan, if anybody has any suggestions, feedback, comments, criticisms, reviews,
concerns,
soliloquy, anything,
a haiku,
poems about us, what should they do?
They should email us, podcast@dudesdads.com. We could also get us on our social media channels, Twitter @dudesdads, Facebook dudesdads.com, YouTube Dad University. Please go there and look at some of those great videos that Jason has up related to how to parent, how to be a great dad, and also partially on Dudes to Dads as well. And iTunes, Stitcher, and any other places podcasts are viewed and you see Dudes to Dads, please leave a review. And
anywhere
subscribe.
else that podcasts are sold?
Anywhere.
That's what it sounded
I always
like.
want to say that.
Yeah.
That's like back in the day for all you oldies out there. Make sure that you subscribe to those channels and leave some reviews, and it really helps perpetuate the show. So please leave a review, please subscribe, and give us feedback there if you can.
Awesome. Alan, well, thank you as always.
Thank you as always.
And we will see you next time.
See you next time.